Guys, and welcome to the seventh part in this tutorial. Today we're going to do some cool stuff, meaning we're going to light the scene and we're going to add particles to make everything a little bit more, well, give it a bit more atmosphere and mood. What I've done in the meanwhile is that I've set everything that doesn't move to static up here in the top right corner. The reason I didn't record is because it takes forever. It took me about 5 or 6 hours just to set everything to static, because it will bake everything. Meaning that when you go to, for example, lighting here, you can actually set it to bake GI and then bake, for example, ambient occlusion and the final gather. If you don't know what that means, final gather, it means that, well, light is a particle and light itself bounces around. When I set this one to final gather and bake it, you can actually have that in your scene. So when you, for example, add a light and set it to bake, the light itself will scatter and bounce around throughout your scene. It's a really cool feature and you should definitely check it out. Also, I set everything a little bit low, like by default this one is 40 and the array count for the final gather is 1024. I set everything a little bit lower, otherwise it will take me forever to bake everything. So hence everything is low. My scene itself is now completely black. There's nothing going on right now in the scene. So we're going to add some lights. In Maya, I've made this light, or this lamp fixture. This is the thing I'm going to start with, because this will help me light up my entire scene. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to turn this into a prefab. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add an empty game object, and I'm going to call this light, just call this light. Let's think of a good name for it. Light hanging, or hanging light. That's cool. Hanging light. And I'm going to drag my light fixture underneath it. But first I'm going to set it all the way up here, because this will now function as my new pivot, so I can actually rotate the game object and then actually rotate the entire light itself, so you get a bit more of a dynamic feeling to your scene. So it's pretty okay right now. Let's make it a little bit lower. Then I'm going to drag my light fixture underneath my hanging light, like so, and now I can rotate my entire light, as you can see right here. Okay, so that's part one. Next thing, I'm going to add a particle system to it, a default particle system. I've imported the package called particle systems, and there's one that I want to use, and that is the one that's called fire complex, this one. So I'm going to drag it in here. I'm just going to drag like this, and you can see bottom right, it actually starts baking already, because the light in that scene is set to baked. But you can also see that you can still work when it's baking, so it's a little bit, makes things a little bit easier. So I'm going to move this one. I'm going to set it to approximately where I want it to be, right here for example. I'm just going to set it to, if I can find it again, the actual light itself. This one, this one, this one, this one. I'm going to set it to real time, so it stops baking for a minute. So let's place it where I want it to be, right here for example, a little bit lower maybe, like so. To that side. Let's see what it looks like in game. That looks pretty cool already though. So I'm gonna get rid of something. For example, the smoke dark, I'll keep that one, but these sparks falling, I don't want them. I'm gonna hit delete. Same goes for the spark rising. Actually we might keep this one. This is cool. This is cool. So we got this one here. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. I'm just gonna select all the particle systems, and this is then our new light. I'm gonna again drag this fire complex under my hanging light, like so. So it now becomes one prefab that I can use over and over and over again. And I'm gonna go to my light here for a second. I want to add shadows to it, so you get these very cool shapes in there. You can also now rotate it. You can see what happens. So you get this very dynamic way of changing stuff. We can do this later on as well, the actual animation. So for now I'm just gonna keep like this. And then I'm going to go to my assets. I'm going to drag this from my hierarchy into my asset folder, so now it becomes a prefab, you can see here. So now we can actually start placing them. But first thing I want to focus on are my key features and my level. It's a little bit easier, so you get a bit more of a feel to it. So the key features are, well, the key over here, this part over here, that's one of them. The other key as well, of course. This room behind the gate, because you want to make it interesting or appealing to go to. Same goes for example, this part here with a tree. I added there as well, and there's a hole there as well. So I want to first light those. So let me just first start with this part here with the actual well. So I'm gonna add a game object, a light, and then a spotlight that I can use to well, aim. Also, let's grab this one and put it under lighting. Makes it a little bit easier to see what you're doing. So let's try to position this properly, like so. Let's increase the range so it actually hits the floors right at the bottom. So let's also increase the intensity a little bit more. Then you can actually start seeing, and also seeing the light bouncing around. You can actually increase it as well, so you get an idea of what the bounce does. I'm just gonna keep it to 1 though, otherwise it's gonna look very weird. And also gonna set the shadows to soft shadows to get this nice shadow casting right over there. Maybe turn it around a little bit so it's not completely boring. A little bit more. And again like this, you can actually see the shadow move. I wanted something like, maybe something like this. That looks pretty cool. Maybe let's increase the intensity even more. Let's do 4. Let's do 4. And also let's change the color a little bit to, like, for example, light bluish to mimic the moon. Maybe there's something like this, for example. I'm gonna call this moonlight. So I have an idea what the hell I'm doing. And let's copy this one and let's move it to this side as well with the other tree and here as well. Just copy it. Let's find it. Let's find the hole over here. It's right over there. There it is. Okay. Let's make this bigger. Actually, let's pull this up and increase the range so it still hits the ground. There we go. There we go. Maybe a little bit to the back side over here. Okay. That's one. Let's get duplicated to this part here. Let's move it up all the way up. So the cone angle or the spot angle fits the entire, well, thingy over here. Let's increase the range a little bit higher maybe. Increase the range. Okay, something like this maybe. So you still have some very cool, interesting lighting going around on here, which is something we really want. Maybe I'm gonna change this a little bit more. Let's rotate this one to give it a little bit more interesting, and let's maybe do hard shadows. So get a little bit more interesting lighting. Let's also increase the spot angle. There we go. See, it looks from this side over here. Okay, looks pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so let's move to this part here with the key. First thing I'm gonna do though, I'm gonna add some water to it, just to give an idea. So I'm gonna turn off my lighting by clicking this button over here. I'm gonna add water. There's also a standard preset that you can use. You can find it in the environment package. Water and then water 2 or water or water 4. You just pick one that looks best. I'm gonna go for the, let's do night. This one. And just place it around where you want it to be, something like this maybe. Then you have some nice cool looking water, but I kind of want to change it a little bit, so I'm gonna play around with the settings. So let's do the reflection color. Let's make it red. Let's make it really dark red. Let's do red. Okay, so you got a little bit more of a blood feeling to it. It just looks really cool though. So let's keep it here. Let's check on these. Okay. I like this though. I like this a lot. Maybe we can even increase the distortion that you get from the reflection and refraction. Maybe not too much though. Something like this maybe. You can also of course change the Fresnel if you want to, or disable horizon. Let's also make this red like that. And of course the wave speed if you want to, stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna add light inside my water. I'm gonna cheat. So again, I'm gonna add a light. This time I'm gonna use a point light, like this. I'm gonna lower it and I'm gonna turn on my lighting so I can see what the hell I'm doing. I'm gonna turn this very orange-ish, like so, and then I'm gonna increase the range by a lot. Let's turn on shadows. Let's do soft shadows. Maybe even lower, something like this. Let's increase intensity. Yeah, that's cool. maybe a little less range. Really big right now though, so something like this maybe. Okay, let's call this water light. And it's duplicated to the other side, so we get a nice coverage. This part over here, let's call this water light 2. Okay, that's fine. See what it looks like in game, I think, but player is still there, so then you get this. It already looks really moody. I like that. Let's see how this looks when the ball starts coming down. Oh, there it is. See what the other light looks like, the light fixture that we added, the prefab. Oh, it's actually turned off by default. I need to check something here, fire complex, and I'm gonna turn off the particle system destroyer, this one. There you go. So it doesn't get killed. Let's play that again. I just want to see the lighting over there, and that's it. And the particle system. There it goes. That was cool though. It's a bit annoying though with the shadows. But then again, it does look pretty light-ish. And let's just keep it like that for now. Okay. So let's make this water a little bit more interesting. I'm going to do that by adding a particle system there. So I'm going to select my water and then I'm going to go to my game object. I'm going to create a particle system. Now this is the basic one. This looks really stupid. So the first thing I want to change is the shape. I'm going to turn this into a box so it spawns in over the entire water. And I'm going to check the scale of everything. So X and probably Z. Nope. First do Y and make it fit roughly. But just make sure that it fits over the entire water thing. Let's try to align it properly. A little bit higher. Something like that. You can always see some very cool stuff happening already. So let's do it like this, and I'm gonna decrease my gravity or my speed even. I'm gonna set it to 0. So now they just spawn inside the particle system. I'm gonna increase the Z by a little bit more. Just make sure that it spawn inside the particle and inside the water, and a little bit lower. There you go. Okay, then I'm gonna increase the rate of emission. I'm gonna set it to something like 100, so they spawn a little bit more often. And then I'm gonna increase the size, so till we get some nice blob. A little bit lower maybe. There you go. This is starting to look pretty cool though, so maybe even more. Let's increase the rate even more, like 200. And let's do a little bit less size though, and this is really big. Let's do this like for like 3. And let's increase this one to say like 10,000. And spawn even more particles, like 500. It's way too big though, so I'm gonna like 4 maybe. Let's try to align it. There you go. Let's even do less height. Let's do what's gonna have 3. It's a little bit too big though on the y-axis, so I'm gonna scale it down. But again, also on the x-axis. Till we get this nice continuous blob of things spawning. A little bit lower. Okay, let's save it real quick. Okay, let's change some other stuff. So I'm gonna close these ones, and the first thing I want to change is my start color. So also something like orangey. Oh, orangey. I want this maybe a little bit more yellow. And I'm gonna decrease the alpha, so I'm gonna drag it towards the black. Something like this. Then it just feels right, so I'm gonna drag it up a little bit. There you go. Maybe we need even more particles though. I'll just increase the duration, so let's do 10. Whoa, 10. That's fine. And it's also 10. So the particles live a bit longer. Let's see what it looks like in actual game. Okay. The storm spawns because we didn't check the pre-warm. There you go. Let's check it out. You see some weird stuff happening here though, cause so the particles are a bit too too high, so I'm gonna lower them a little bit, something like this. Let's see what it looks like now. I don't see them intersecting anywhere, so that's pretty okay. So you got this very cool effect by just adding a very simple particle system that took us like a minute to set up. And downside is though, now when you get in the water it looks like this. Just looks a bit weird, but it's a very cool effect, so let's keep it for now, something like this. So when you set it to static, it's not baking the actual lights. I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to grab this light over here, water light, and I'm going to set the baking to baked. As you can see there, it starts doing stuff in the bottom right, so I'm going to move this one actually into the lighting, this one as well. You can see it starts baking. It's pretty fast right now because the lights, well, simple lights, and I've set the settings extremely low, so it should be okay, I hope. Oh, let's see what happens. I can still work, so that's pretty okay. If it actually works. Crap. Oh, there you go. We're back. But the downside is when you have your light set to bake, that they won't interact with objects that aren't static. So, for example, the boulder, it won't be affected by the lighting that we just added. But then again, do you mind? Probably not, or at least not that much. So I'm gonna leave this one for now. Just gonna wait for the actual bake to be completed. So it's now compositing and done. The cool thing as well is that it also adds ambient occlusion to your scene. So I'm gonna do the same thing for the other water light, this one over here. I'm also gonna set it to baked, and then I'm just gonna move on to the next object while it bakes. So we got this main particle system here, or for the light over here. Let's check it out. So I'm gonna go to my light fix, my VII complex. I'm gonna change my light. It's a bit annoying what it's doing. It actually has a script attached to it, which is nothing more than a simple light flicker. You can see here the intensity, it just flickers. It's cool, it really helps it, but maybe it's a bit annoying as it is right now. I'm gonna see if I can change some stuff, maybe a little bit more towards the yellow. Actual color, if my computer doesn't die on me. Be helpful a little bit more. There we go. Like it a bit more. So when you change a prefab, make sure that you go to game object and then of course hit apply, change to prefab, otherwise it will be simply ignored, all the changes that you've made, so let's just don't do that. Let's also create a new game object, and let's call it particles. So we can drag the particle system in there underneath the particles. I'm gonna call this the water blob. I'm not sure what to name it though, so let's call it water blob. There you go. Put it on there, so everything is still nice and organized. Just looks a little bit better. There you go. So we can now use this prefab again. So let's drag it, for example, up here. Let's see, it actually works. There it is. So this is a very cheap way to reuse certain items that you have, or certain props that you've made in Maya or whatever program you use. So then you can place this one up to the top, for example, like this, and then this part is also lit. Let's see what it does actually, how it looks. Look at this part here. It's pretty good though. We've got a nasty seam there, but we'll survive that one. Yeah, the shadow has been, that's annoying. I'm quite sure that I'll be annoyed by that, so I just might want to cheat like hell, and I just might want to turn off the actual light shadow, so I'm going to turn it off actually. Again, I'm going to hit apply to change the prefab, so the other one changes as well, as you see. It's a cheap way. Of course you can do it differently as well. You can add two lights in there, one a very low intensity light, and the other one or without shadows, and one that actually has shadows. So you like double team on it. That works. You can actually see it here how it does that. The random function as well. But for now I'm just gonna leave it for like this, for example, and then I'm gonna drag this one under geometry because it is geometry. So I'm gonna put it right there. Okay, let's add one more, maybe, or a bunch more actually. Let's also do one at the beginning of the stairs. So I'm gonna go again to my asset folder. I'm gonna drag it in, like here, for example, and move it up. Let's zoom in. It's all the way up. There we go. Do we like that? Probably. Let's see what it looks like. This looks pretty cool though, let's face it. Downside is no shadow, so it will look a little bit weird. That part looks really good as well. I like it, but I'm still not convinced about these shadows. Let's check it here, let's set them on. Let's use soft shadows and let's see, lower the intensity, the strength of the shadows with like 0.4 maybe. And again, apply change to prefab so they know all are changed. Let's see what it looks like now. Yeah, that's less distracting. It's still there, but a little bit less distracting. A little bit. I wonder what it's doing though, the actual light itself. So let's see. Let's check out the script. If it's also, yeah, okay, there's a position there as well. We can actually change the position. So let's edit this one. I'm just gonna open it in Modern Behavior. More develop, I should say. Let's open it. Let's just turn it off. The script here, so with the local position, let's just turn it off. Let's convert, and so it stops moving, which is just really annoying. So let's see what it does now. If it doesn't crash, at least that'd be helpful. There it is. So now it just flickers. Yeah, that's a lot better though. So let's change the light again to shadow all the way up 1, and again apply change to prefab. Now it just looks a little bit less weird. Okay, that looks much better now. I like that. That is cool. That is good. We could of course also change the light itself, so maybe let's lower the radius a little bit to like 4. Oh, that's too much. Let's do. I don't want it to light the entire scene. I really don't want to do that. So let's save this again. Now let's do it entire prefab. See what it looks like now. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. That looks much better though. Change one up here. The location of this one's a little bit weird though. let's change it. So this one. Let's move it a little bit more to that side, over here probably. Okay, let's place it properly up here. There you go. I don't think I've ever seen a light hanging in front of a staircase, so let's not do that. Yeah, there you go. It's much better, and you also get this very cool effect up there with the light hitting it. Okay, that's much better now. Okay. Grab it, also place it underneath the geometry. Let's duplicate it again, maybe like here for example. Would that be cool? Probably. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's use this one again and let's place it right here. This needs to be a little bit lower. So we're starting to get the level lit. Halfway done by now. So let's check it out. Let's play the first half. Check out the first half. That's good. Let's get up there. This part looks really cool though. We're just gonna check it out. Really don't like this rock though, but if I want to change it, I have to bake it all over again. So let's not do that. Let's go there. There's also some things that acting weird with the reflection. Okay, that is pretty damn good. So let's change actual reflection. Right now it's using the skybox. Let's just use a custom color. This will pretty much change the entire scene, what it looks like. So now you can see here. Actually, I like it a little bit more. Of course, you can still use the actual skybox, but then just lower down the intensity. So the reflection intensity is saved like something like 0.25. Let's see what that looks like. But it's still some reflection, but not that much. Yeah, that's cool though. That's cool. Let's up it a little bit. Too much. Okay, 0.5 should do the trick. Let's do 0.5. 0.5. There you go. And let's see what it looks like. Like this. It's a massive scene though. Crap. That's a bummer. Oh well. It also gives the entire scene a little bit more atmosphere because it's now a little bit darker. I like that a little bit more. Just these rocks so they look hideous. So I might want to change the actual texture of it. That looks a lot better actually. Not perfect, but let's go with that gauge. There you go. Okay. Let's just add a bunch more of lights because we can always change them later on. That's perfectly fine. So let's move this one here. And there, maybe a little bit lower. Zoom in. There we go. In the main corridor, let's do one here. Actually, I'm gonna move this one a little bit towards the back, and I'll get back to why I did that. A little bit more, like so. On the center of the T junction, let's move this one here. Yep, there you go. So I'm adding a bunch of lights in there which are played in real time. They're not baked. Make sure that you go to your project settings quality, because then you can actually increase the amount of pixel lights. So you can increase it like 20. So then you can actually use 20 real-time lights. If you do like 4, then you get something very awkward where the lights pop on and off. So you kind of want to avoid that. So hence I set it to 20 or 15 or. I don't think we'll actually use 20 lights, but let's do this one here in the corner. A little bit lower that side. There you go. Okay. And this one again. Let's do this one here. Doesn't crash on me. Thank you. Do this one behind the key. Doesn't have to be perfect for as it is right now though, because we're still tweaking everything. So this should be fine. So I'm gonna change this one a little bit higher. Okay, there you go. Let's do one more around there. And there we go. Let's explore, see what it looks like. Oh dear. Oh, still work. my computer just froze. No, I don't work. Okay, let's. And again. gonna move this one a little bit further back actually. Ah, this looks good though. This one actually looks pretty cool. It's a tree. This is just the basic tree that I've added, so it's nothing really fancy going on. Okay. So far so good. Got everything lit. I'm gonna grab my lights. I'm gonna grab my moonlights. I'm just gonna set them to baked because they don't move and they don't actually change the intensity or color or whatever. So I'm gonna set them all to baked. So this one as well, baked, and this one as well. It's baking right now. It's actually going pretty damn fast. I'm surprised by that. So a very cheap trick to add mood is adding fog to your scene. It's very cheap, but it can look pretty damn awesome if used properly. You can actually find it under the window lighting and then go down to fog. You can actually just turn it on and then you have fog in your game. You can see it here pop up in the back. It's a very cheap way of adding atmosphere. It also looks really good, and it's actually very good for the efficiency as well, because it prevents from parts being rendered when they shouldn't be rendered. Oh, this is actually really slow now when I'm baking, so I think it's even crashing. Oh dear. Let's not do this. Oh dear. Well, that took a while. Holy crap. My computer really doesn't like this, but if it, oh, it's actually done baking. You can actually see I changed the parts here as well. The shells are now actually soft. It just looks really good. So let's try this again. Let's see if this time doesn't give me a headache. Okay. So you can see the fog up there in the corridor. Let's go up here. You can actually see it there. Pretty okay. It just gives it the level a lot of atmosphere. You can actually increase the size and density of it. So let's grab it one, and I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to increase the density to something like 0.1. Yeah, you can see what happens. Kind of want to avoid that, so let's do 0.034. Too much. 2. Yeah, that could actually work. This could work. You don't want to overdo it though, so I'm gonna even go a little bit lower, like 0.15. Okay, there we go. That's much better now. Nice and soft shadows around here as well, and also ambient occlusion here that's added to the actual rocks. It just makes everything look a lot better when you bake it. This has a nice atmosphere to it. I like it. Okay, that looks pretty damn good. Some parts are still really dark, so I'm gonna set the reflection intensity to 0 again, so it doesn't actually reflect the skybox. Just use a custom one. They can actually add a custom cube map to it. I'm just gonna set it to 0. So I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna see what it looks like right now. Just extremely dark, but that's fine. But the first thing you notice is that everything has turned proper black. So we need to add some light to it, some ambient light. A couple of ways you can do that. Of course, you could add a giant directional light to it, and just turn off shadows. Lower down the intensity like 0.05, and it gives it some general lighting to it. Actually looks pretty nice though. Let's turn it to blue as well, light bluish. Maybe a little bit higher. Don't want to go overboard though, so 0.1 maybe. Let's check it. So it should give a nice ambient light to it. It actually does, except for the roof. So I kind of want to avoid that. It looks pretty good though, but we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna actually add lights to it, custom lights to it. So we're gonna add point lights that will fill up the scene. The darker parts on this. So for example, this part here, I'm gonna add to my light point light. It's right there. Let's pump it up. You just have to be careful that you don't overdo it, because you can actually see here the hotspots. It looks pretty bad, so I'm gonna lower it by a lot, so the hotspots are a little bit gone. A little bit. Let's lower this to something. Let's lower this in general, something like here. I'm gonna set it to baked, and you'll see the difference in a minute when it's actually done. Soon, I hope. Yeah, it's baking. If your baking is a little bit slower, then just turn down the settings for the bake. So lower the texels down to like 4 or 5, maybe 1. It will save you a lot of time baking. Let's check this one out a little bit. If it actually does something today. 2 jobs. We're getting there. Soon. Almost. And done. See what happened? The cool thing is it also adds ambient occlusion again to the scene, so it will just look a lot better. So don't be shy. Use it. This looks pretty good though. I'm just going to change the color. If you change the color again, it will have to rebake. It's a downside. I'm going to set this to soft shadows. I'm going to set the color to bluish tint. This one I'm going to copy it one time, so a little bit lower. So like here maybe, no, even lower, here. There you go. So these 2 lights will light up the corridor right here. But just make sure you set them to baked, otherwise you'll just add lights to the scene which are real time, and that's just a waste of resources, because they don't actually move, or they don't change color, or don't change intensity. So make sure that if something that does move, set it to baked, or same goes for meshes. If they don't move, set them to static. It's a major time saver. So don't be afraid, just do it like that. Let's see if it actually does something today. No, almost done. It's a boring process, huh? But hey, one job. Composting, so check out the difference. There we go. That looks really nice though, and spooky. That's cool. I like that actually a lot. So let's see what happens when you get the boulder down the scene. Let's just wait for it. Should be there soon. You can see that the lighting on the sphere isn't actually changed by the light. Same goes here. This one here. See, the lighting is the sphere isn't actually changed by the lighting. So that's something to keep in mind when using big lights. I really like this though. This looks really good actually. I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I'm gonna add 2 more lights here. I'm just gonna copy paste this one. I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna increase. Oh, it should really be inside there though. There we go. Move a little bit further away from the actual real-time light, so move it up here. Oh, no button. Halfway through, something like this. There you go. And just duplicate it. And then it starts baking again, as you can see. There you go. And then you just wait again. But again, this is part of. Well, it's actually doing pretty fast though. Surprised by that. Doing quite well. Well, in the next video I'll do sound and audio design. For the extra factor of all, it just really really helps the game. So that's something we're going to do in next time. But for now we're just going to focus of course on lighting and particles. Let's see if it actually does something. Soon. Oh, one job. And composting and done. Just go there real quick. That looks pretty spot on. Sweet. Okay, so let's do some particles. Say for example in this well I want there to be some smoke coming out of it, out of this part here for example, and that maybe goes down the stairs. That'll be really cool though. So let's zoom in here and let's add a particle system. Let's place it up here so it actually fits inside the well. Let's move it up here. There you go. And lower. There you go. Like so. Okay, first thing I'm going to change is the actual speed of the particles which they move, so maybe like 1. Okay, and then I'm going to add the gravity to it. You can actually see it starts out falling over the edge of it, so maybe like 0.2, 0.1. That is good, and let's increase the speed so they last a little bit longer. There you go. We need a lot more particles though, but for now I'm just going to increase the size as well. You actually get the sensation that it's falling over the actual well. That is cool though. Okay. Downside though is that these particles do not interact with the light because it's baked. That's a little bit of annoying. It's something to keep in mind when you actually do this. But we can create a different material for the particles, so they don't look as bad. But first let's just change it. So let's spawn more particles. Also I'm going to change the emission to, let's do a circle. Let's lower it and increase the speed one more time. Oh, that's not really helpful. Arch. Let's do 45. No. Let's do sphere from shell. Oh, okay. So we're pretty much stuck using the cone. Oh well, that's fine. We'll live. Let's do the radius a little bit bigger so it fits roughly inside the well. This one. Let's change the angle a little bit so they actually pop out. Okay. Let's spawn a lot more of them, so I'm gonna go to my rate. I'm gonna increase it to something like 100. There you go. So it actually looks like some blob right now that's coming out. Second though, they're going through the floor, as you can see. And we kind of wanted to bounce off them and continue their way forward. So I'm gonna create a plane here. I'm gonna create a plane. There it is. I'm gonna place it underneath, and I'm gonna make it a lot bigger, like so. I'm gonna place it underneath, right here around the floor. I'm gonna turn off mesh renderer, so it doesn't, so it's not visible anymore. And then I'm gonna go to my particle system, this one here. I'm gonna go to my collision tab, this one right here. You can actually set it to plane, so you can drag the plane in there, and the particles will then bounce off. For example, the actual planes. Let's increase the life. Let's do something like 10. You can see it pretty fills up the room until it actually reaches the other side of the system. So let's do dampen. You can see what happens. Also bounce. I don't want them to bounce though. That looks pretty stupid. Also let's turn off dampen. So now it flows outwards. Let's grab the plane a little bit higher. A little bit higher. There you go. Okay, so let's change the color. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the alpha by a shit ton. Something like this, maybe. Okay. Still doesn't look that good because we don't spawn that many particles, to be honest. So I'm going to increase particle spawning rate like 500 maybe. I'm gonna turn on pre-warm. So let's see what it looks like. You get this giant blob. There you go. Let's increase this to 15. The duration. Right now we have these waves though. Let's see, there it comes again. So I'm gonna increase the lifetime like 25 maybe, because I wanted to keep on spawning, not just once and just stop. Let's see if it's changed. No, let's do 3. Let's do a little bit longer. 4. Then you don't actually reach the. Let's increase the duration. And let's see. Let's increase the max particles, so like 5,000. And the lifetime. There we go. Let's do this. Oh, speed. I like that one actually. Let's do the size. Now it becomes really blobby. Not what we want, so I'm gonna lower the size again to something reasonable. Let's do 3 right now. Okay. You can also set the color to a gradient, so right now it's just white, and then I'm gonna maybe something like go for like bluish, and also lower the alpha as well, this one. And let's change this one to or something like, you can do black if you want to, or dark blue. And also change the alpha. This on top here, you guys should lower it down by a lot. Same here, let's do this lower, a lot lower. There you go. Okay, so we can also create our own custom materials. So you can go to create material, and let's do this particle smoke, for example. And then we set this one to particles, and then you can pick one of these, like alpha, pre-planet, planet, multiply, additive soft. You can also set to multiply, which is really cool, but I'm gonna go for, well, I'm gonna change something later on, so I'm gonna go for, let's do soft, this one. You can actually import a texture there. I think we have some default ones, so I'm gonna check it out. Particle systems textures. This one looks cool though. Let's use that one. So let's go to my particle system, go to my materials, particles, and then textures. I'm gonna drag this one in there. Let's go to my particle system, materials, and then I can drag my newly created particle system right on top of here, so it adds it. Then you get this. Do we like it? Not really though. Let's change it to additive. That was kind of cool though. Let's grab it, see what it looks like. It's probably the size though of the actual particles. It needs to be a little bit lower. But then again, then you have to spawn more. A lot more. Let's do this 25,000. And it should start again. There you go. No, I need to be bigger. Let's do 2. Let's do 3. It's a bit of annoying. Does have a pretty cool effect though, but let's change the additive to, well, let's just try them all out. Alpha blended. That's even worse. Let's do pre-multiply. Holy crap. That's a no. Multiply. Just make everything darker, but kind of don't want that though. It's awesome for actual smoke. Let's do additive priority. Let's do soft, then soft particle factor. No, let's do additive, this one. You can also change the tint. Let's make this bluish. There you go, and also change the alpha. You can even lower it down further to all the way white. So you get something that you like. So let's see what it looks like in game. Probably I'm not gonna like it though. I'm probably gonna delete it because it sounded like a good idea, but now it looks like a very bad idea. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it looks bad, but I'm just gonna say I don't like it. So let's change it a lot, or maybe something just like 1. The speed, just want to be on top of that. Let's kill the lifetime so that it died out a little bit earlier. Let's put it there. Let's grab the plane, the collision plane. Let's move it higher. There you go. So let's see now. They actually, wow, that's really helpful. Should be there, I think. It just looks really awkward, so I'm going to move it a little bit higher. There you go. Do we like it? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to end up deleting it entirely. Knowing myself. Let's do the alpha even lower. Like, this one is set to 0. Let's do this one to like 2. No, let's do 5, 6, 2. This one also to 2. A bit tricky, as you can see, finding out the right settings. Let's do the size 5, 4, 1. No, this is going to work. Let's not. I don't like it, so let's not do it then. If you don't like it, delete it. Don't be afraid to kill your darlings. Okay, so let's just focus right now on the lighting. So I'm gonna grab these two again. These two lights up here. Baking ones. Let's grab this one. Do this one. Duplicate it. Move it higher. Let's see if we can find it a little bit more to the left. So we're just gonna fill up the scene with light. Let's move it there. We actually might use 3 of them here. There we go. And we wait. As usual. No, it's going pretty fast. Let's check out some of the prefabs that you have. You have smoke, steam, mobile, hose, flare mobile, fireworks. We're not gonna do fireworks though, because it just looks really stupid. Explosions. Afterburn, this one's actually really cool. Let's do flare. I don't know what. Let's do flare. Do I even want to know what flare does? Oh. Let's first wait for it to be finished baking. I don't want to crash my computer.